this, Mike. Let me think about how I should do this. I think I should probably just transition us right in there. So, no, I'm gonna do it like this. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 5, 4, 3. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the Games Beat Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything about the world of games so you don't have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeffrey Grubb. With me is
Mike Minotti.
Yeah, boy.
Don't ever say that again.
Okay, yes, sir.
Thank you.
We have a lot of video games to talk about this week. We'll get to those, of course. We also have news of the Nintendo Mario Direct. It did finally happen.
It finally happened.
It finally happened. So you can finally believe me again. Your faith is restored, and
oh man,
I feel good about that. But we'll get all to that here real quick. First, I want to thank everybody for joining us. You can get more from Mike and me at gamesbeat.com. If you have something to share with us, you can email the podcast at gamespluspodcast@venturebeat.com or send a question. You can at me or at gamesbeat with the hashtag GBDecides. Thank you to Carlos Ain, who is Insane in the Rain Music, for the use of our theme song. He's Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube, of course. And then, yeah, if you're listening to this on like the website player widget or you're watching on YouTube, you could subscribe to the audio version of this show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever pods are caught. And wherever you're listening, please feel free to rate us. It helps people find the show. I appreciate that. All right, Mike. Yeah, I think we can just hop right into it. There's no reason to linger. We're recording this pretty late on a Friday. Let's just hop right into the news, okay?
Yeah, it's a holiday weekend. I've got barbecue and beer to get to.
Yeah, and that sounds like exactly what we should be doing for Labor Day. So let's start with Nintendo. I think that's probably the best place to start. They basically surprised everybody with a Mario Direct out of nowhere. And it kind of confirmed most of what we've been saying for. It feels like the entire year now. I feel like we've been saying it since March.
When was it when you first sent me that message where you heard about this? It was like early summer.
It had to be March or April even.
Yeah.
It was like at the beginning of the COVID pandemic. It's like, here's something to look forward to, and then nothing.
Like,
forever.
What? So, finally here.
So I guess like we can get into the specifics of the announcements, but just kind of how are you feeling coming out of that thing?
I mean, it's weird because I like knew this was coming. Instead of like excited initially, it was almost first a relief. Then because I was like already like, yeah, we're getting these 3 games. Like I was almost like looking for the negatives. I was like, oh, these aren't actually remakes, really. These are remasters bordering on nice ports,
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that, And you had kind of been warning me that Galaxy 2 wasn't going to be a part of it. Still, like, that still stings a bit to see that. Of course, like, a lot of other people were talking about it now. So, and I'm like, yeah, I don't have any good reason or explanation why it's not. Then there's the whole weird time exclusivity of it, which is just really weird, where this collection, both physically and digitally, Super Mario All-Stars 3D with Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy, only going to be available until the end of March. No idea why that's the case. I know some people out there are like suggesting that after that they might start selling them separately, and that's maybe when we'll see Galaxy 2 also. I don't know. Even if they were doing that, I don't know. I don't know why you would have to stop selling the bundle version of it. It's bizarre. It's just that thing where it's like, Nintendo has to be Nintendo sometimes and find a way to still make something that should be like the greatest, most exciting announcement ever feel kind of weird and deflating in a way. But like, when I'm really thinking about it, I'm like, man, I love these 3 games so much. I can't wait to play them on my Switch. And I could not believe how soon the release date was. Like September 18th. That really surprised me. I was like, wait, what? The fact that this wasn't getting announced, I'm like, oh, maybe this isn't coming out this year. Like, let alone I never thought this was coming out in September.
September always was kind of the timeline I was hearing, but as it goes further and further without an announcement, it's like, man, I'm never going to say that to anybody because that just doesn't. Mm-hmm. I don't want that to be held against me. So I'm like, when I started hearing that it could be happening, the Direct could be happening this week, I'm like, they really still don't have anything for September, so maybe I'm holding out hope. And man, they really did. They just went for it, September 18th. What? I wish all the other stuff was happening a bit sooner, though. The Super Mario 35, that Battle Royale, should have just dropped yesterday or
Like,
whenever
yeah,
it
that would
happened.
have been neat. And that's the other one that has a weird time delay, but it looks so cool. It's basically Tetris 99, both Super Mario Brothers for the NES. I'm like, yeah, that looks super fun. I'm super on board with that. And it's one of the few things that will make you feel good about owning Nintendo Switch Online probably for the rest of this year. So that's something. The one thing that did like come out that day is Mario All Stars, not Mario 3D All Stars, just Mario All Stars on the kind of SNES Nintendo Switch Online library, which is nice. It's a little not weird, but like and not necessarily redundant. But we have all those games in that bundle in the original form. It's still neat to play those remakes, but it's not like when those came out. It was like, finally, now the original Mario Brothers looks new. At this point, like they're just all different flavors of old,
Yeah.
right? But it's nice. It would have been nice if Mario RPG had been released, but
Yeah, for real.
that is apparently who knows when that's going to happen. Uh, then we had like some weird wild cards, like the AR Mario Kart thingy, which looks neat, I guess. I think it's a good way of them to try to do something else with Mario Kart this for the Switch, with there already being this Mario Kart game out there that is a sales behemoth and is still selling well. So I understand the logic in that. It also is a way for them to continue to do these kind of like Labo experiments, except they can attach the Mario Kart name to it to kind of maybe push the sales forward a little
Yeah.
bit more, I guess. I don't know. What do
Can
you
I ask
think
you?
about
Let me ask you a quick question. Did you say sales behemoth instead of sales behemoth?
I'll tell you what, I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14 the last few weeks. Just like an absolute ton.
I can tell.
So
That's amazing.
if I did say that, I'm not surprised.
I got a, you know what, timeline footnote here for the title name.
No. Okay.
Sales Bahamut. All
Oh,
right.
I thought the show should be named "I'm the Ambassador, Kick Your Asseter" this week.
I do not know this reference. What's this from?
That's one of the line for one of the songs in Tony Hawk. And when it came up, I'm like, I've heard that for a while, and then I thought, man, why did anybody ever write lyrics again after that line was invented? Everyone else should have given up. I'm the ambassador of Kick Your Asseter.
Man, that's a good game.
Yeah, you did the show whatever you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get to Tony Hawk later. But yeah, so it'll be like, the Mario Kart. And like besides that, there's shoes, stuff like that. I mean, I thought it was a good direct. I thought it was really fun. And also Super Mario 3D World is finally coming. That's the one that's like, man, like that could have been the December game for Nintendo, right? Because we still don't have anything after October, and that's a February game. And presumably because they're adding like the new content to it, and I'm like, maybe I could be okay without that. I don't know. The weird thing about that to me is that it's not like it's not Super Mario 3D World Deluxe. It's almost more like those kind of not liked Mario
yeah,
and Luigi remakes.
That is what it's like. It's got the name,
right, it's like,
name scheme too.
Yeah, it's Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser Jr.'s Shitty Adventure. Or whatever,
yeah, like touchscreen mobile game. Yeah,
right, which is bizarre because like I think Bowser's Inside Story remake is like the worst selling Mario game ever or something, which had a lot to do with the 3DS
coming out after the Switch,
basically a dead system. But so yeah, that I'm surprised it's not just Super Mario 3D World Deluxe. But that's another game. I'm like, yeah, I'm super excited to play more of it this time. Like I beat it, but I really want to like go and like get all the stars or whatever they are in that game and unlock like that final level, unlock Rosalina and all that stuff. But like it is awesome when you look at it and it's like, man, I'm going to be able to play like just about every 3D Mario game ever on this one system. And aside from like classic Mega Man, 3D Mario games that's my favorite for me. I love those games. I'm gonna play them over and over. Now it does make, again, not having Galaxy 2 on there feel a little bit weirder, but that's gotta be happening at some point, especially if so many of like the issues of bringing the Galaxy games in general have already been solved for Switch, right? Like if you already figured out how to adapt the motion controls and all that other stuff, it's like, okay, yeah, then get Galaxy 2 on there.
Have you seen what they're doing to solve that? Like, I mean, do you know like what they've done? Because apparently they're using, if you're playing a mobile mode or handheld mode, it's a touch screen. You do the motion stuff, like the pointer stuff, with a touch screen. And I think there's a possibility that maybe Galaxy 2 doesn't come forward because that doesn't work very well when you're playing as Yoshi or when you're riding on Yoshi.
So I think even in handheld mode, you're using the gyroscope controls still because like that doesn't solve all the issues where you have to aim and stuff, right? So and that's the big thing here is that whatever you're using, if you can use the straight up like two Joy-Cons in it, then it's a lot like a Wii. You can use a Pro controller, which still has the gyroscope sensor in it, and you still just use that to tilt and move the cursor around. And if you're just holding a Switch, I imagine you can still do that
Yeah,
also
that
in
makes
terms of the
sense. Yeah.
tilting and stuff. So yeah, I don't think it's really an issue.
Yeah. I'll have to. I'm gonna go back and play Galaxy 2 on Dolphin. Play it in HD, and I'm gonna see. I'm gonna try to figure out if there's any obvious or glaring reason that we're not thinking of, that it couldn't be here for some development reason.
My instinct is that's not it. It's just a matter of
I think you're right.
I think whatever, right? Like
Yeah.
maybe there's something about those three games, and they just seem better. I mean, it is nice that like you have like there is almost this kind of like here's these three like 3D Mario games, and they're kind of distinct from each other, and blah blah blah. But also like no, just give me Galaxy 2.
Yep. I mean, Galaxy 2's. I mean, of those four, not including like 3D World Deluxe, it's definitely my favorite. And then even now going back, it's like it probably is. I probably do like it more than even 3D World Deluxe or 3D World not
Sure.
Deluxe.
I always I think I like 2 more than Galaxy 1 because like Galaxy 2 has better level design. Galaxy 1, I like some of the auxiliaries more. Like as much as the story doesn't matter, I do quote unquote like the story more. I guess I like the framing more in Galaxy 1. I like the music maybe a little bit more. But there's a lot of stuff like that. I like the hub world a little bit more even, but ultimately like level design matters way more, and the level design in Galaxy 2 is just, absolutely ridiculously good.
Yes.
So,
A couple of things. I mean, I think I was trying to figure out the timing, and I was sniffing around a little bit to be like, does anyone who is in the know at Nintendo know why they did this? Is it anything beyond like just weird Disney Vault stuff? And it sounds like no, it's Disney Vault stuff. It is just about making sure that like, yes, they want to sell this collection now, and it is going to be done, before or at the end of the fiscal year. So it's gonna serve them well now. It's probably going to sell very well. But then like later on, they are going to want to, even if they have like a Switch 2, they're gonna want to do stuff with these games again, where it's like if they do like add eventually, like far down the line, add like GameCube games to the Switch Online or something. Part of that is they're really gonna want to make sure Sunshine is like a key part of that, and then or whatever, or adding Wii games, and then the Galaxy games will be a key part of that. And if this collection's available, it might sort of hamper that or dampen that a little bit. So
the weird thing about the Vault comparison, like the Disney Vault works for Disney because, or used to work anyways, it's not a thing anymore. But the idea was that like people would get really excited because these movies would be out, and then you force scarcity so that like in 10 years you can sell them again. That model, that's not really how it works for Nintendo, right? Like the best selling Switch games for Nintendo, like Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart, Smash Bros. Like those games still sell well right now. Like even Breath of the Wild, which was a launch game, Mario Kart, which is basically a launch game, the sale legs on those things is ridiculous. So like I feel like they have all the data in the world to show them the opposite of that. Like, no, keep your games out there forever. It'll keep selling.
I would think so, but like, I mean, what they've done is I've bought Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario World and Super Metroid multiple times across multiple systems, and now that I think they think that like, okay, we've kind of exhausted that, now let's put up the subscription service with those games. And I think they're thinking that before they begin adding stuff like this to a subscription model or make them more readily available, that they will find ways to sell these games to us again and again, and then eventually, once that's been exhausted, and the only way that works is kind of especially if they're going to stick with the Switch sort of format going forward, and they aren't going to take away our games. The only way that they can really start selling us stuff again is by making it limited. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's something else, but that's the only thing I can think of. It's the only thing.
Right, and it's not a great reason. So it's like no. I mean, it's stupid.
Yes.
I can't explain stupid, right? I can try, but I don't know. I mean, do you really think that come the end of March we're not going to see this package for sale like ever again for the Switch? I don't know.
Yeah, I doubt it. I mean, maybe it'll be
the
limited.
The NES Mini was supposed to be a limited thing, and then they had to make more of those because there's so much demand. So I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe they're trying the same thing here. And it's like, okay, next holiday we'll do another big run, and then people will rush out and get it. And I think there's no reason to think that even even with them not being full remakes, and even with me thinking like, man, I'm looking at Super Mario 64 on the PC, that illicit port that I've been playing. It's like, man, that's a really awesome thing that they easily could have done similar things to with the Switch, and they're not. This is kind of disappointing. I think there's no reason to think that, like, once people are actually playing these games, few people are actually going to be disappointed because they're all so good. So it's like it's going to be a collection that just is going to sell.
I don't think anyone's gonna have an issue with the collection. I do want to know why you lied to me and told me they were going to be remakes.
Did I say remakes? I mean,
I was under the impression you were saying remakes.
I do sometimes accidentally use those words incorrectly. I think once I started hearing
a lot of people do.
I think once I started hearing like, no, this is Super Mario 3D All Stars.
Sure, that's the thing, right?
That really implies something. Yes, yeah, and it's like I'm at least expecting like them adding HD up-res assets, not just like better, like cleaner textures, like in most cases new textures, especially with Mario 64. So I was expecting that, and I think maybe I just got led down the wrong pathway just through my own brain.
Right, and it's weird because I was expecting that, I was like disappointed by that, but I don't know. There's another part of me that I like Mario 64 a lot as it is. I like the low poly look. Just making it sharper is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Galaxy doesn't really need much more than just being like in HD. Sunshine, pretty much the same thing. Sunshine's going to look a little rougher in some spots, but yeah, I'm not that concerned. It is weird though in the context, like, Activision Blizzard put quote unquote more effort into its bundle of the Crash Bandicoot and Spyro games than this, right?
Right.
Those were insanely high fidelity remakes, right? So
yeah,
it is kind of bizarre. Like, yeah, I guess Crash gets a better, quote unquote, better treatment here. But again, it's like, if you like these games, if you like Mario, you like open that collection up, you're going to have a giant smile on your face, and you're going to be super happy just to have easy access to them on a portable /TV system.
Yep, I agree. Trying to see if there's anything else here I wanted to touch on too. I mean, I guess that Mario Kart Live thing, this makes me feel like Mario Kart 9 is probably not coming up anytime soon. This feels
that's what this is how you kind of you use that name in a way, because Mario Kart, again, like I said, for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe still sells really well.
Right.
So Mario Kart 9.
Mario Kart 9 never made sense to me because of that. I know people like, oh, there's always a Mario Kart in every system, and then Mario Kart 8 was a Wii U game, so they're gonna make Mario Kart 9. And I'm like, I just don't think they're gonna think that way with the way Deluxe is selling. They're like, clearly they are making the same kind of money they would have made with Mario Kart 9 without having to do the work. So it's like, yeah, I just was never expecting them to do that. And this to me sort of cements that. It's like, okay, this is going to be their way of capitalizing on the name, like you say. And it looks fun. It's from Velen Studios, which is people that started Vicarious Visions. So it's like, if
they just made a new game that I like.
Yeah, Vicarious Visions is everywhere. Yeah, and then this is like an offshoot studio and a new studio that started in 2016, and they're also making a game with EA as well. But this is like a technology they developed, and they I think they pitched it to Nintendo, and Nintendo was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's put Mario Kart on it, and it looks really cool, actually. I mean, it looks like my kids are gonna friggin' lose their minds for it.
It is going to be like a great Christmas present.
Yes.
Is it something that I think people are going to be playing like a ton of? No. But man, are people going to be happy to get it for Christmas, and they are going to have fun playing with it for like that day and a few days afterwards, and then every now and again, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And that's it's like Rob the Robot, right? Like no one used Rob the Robot a zillion times, but I bet it was cool to get one.
Yeah, I bet it'll be better than Rob the Robot.
Okay, all right. I'm not trying to. Yeah, sure, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like getting Labo. It's exactly like getting Labo, right? No one's like playing Labo every day.
No,
right?
I think you're right. I think that's true for all these any sort of like thing that has a physical element to it. Setting it up is just such a barrier. Most people aren't going to do that regularly. Oh, you know what? We didn't touch on the Game & Watch thing. Apparently.
Oh yeah.
So this is instead of getting a Game Boy Micro or Game Boy Classic.
Well, instead of. I mean, it
feels like instead of to me.
I don't know. See, like you were down on this. I'm fine with it.
I'm gonna get it.
It's just a collectible. It's neat.
It's $50.
It's cool.
I think that's the right price. Yeah.
$50 is not bad for it. I mean,
I love
like
Super Mario Brothers too. Another way to play Super Mario Brothers, fine, I'll take it, man. It's one of my favorite games ever.
Yeah, it's just like we were talking about. Am I going to be carrying this around with me everywhere? Right? Like, is this going to become my new
No,
clock?
yeah,
No,
yeah.
but like, it's pretty neat. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. If you saw one of these and you saw one of those Game Gear micros on the shelf and you know only had the money for one, which one would you get?
Game Gear Micro. Oh gosh, I don't know. There aren't that many good Game Gear games,
No, and
really.
it's only
Is
and
there
each
any Game Gear game that's better than Mario Brothers?
no, of
I
course
don't know.
not. But each of those Game Gear micros only come with like 4 games each, so you'd have to like pick which four
Yeah.
games
Oh
you want.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably this, huh? I
yeah.
mean, if I can get an analog pocket NT, I'll take that. But I don't think that's.
Man, man, that thing's still coming. I'm still very much looking forward to that. All right. Anything else? What do you think that Bowser's Fury stuff is? Like, do you just think that's a new sort of world
I bet
inside
it's
of?
like a new world. I don't
Mm,
know. Like what else? I mean, it's not like how crazy different can it be? Like some people I so say, oh, I bet it's like more open or something. Like why would it be more open? The whole
mm.
point of 3D world is that it's not open.
Right. The can.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's just another world so that they can say like, oh man, look, this is even better than a deluxe, right?
It
Uh,
it really is easy to find like the disappointment in all of these things. Like, so
See,
like,
like, well, you even said that, and you you suggested that story to me, and I started doing it. And as I wrote the story, I really only had gripes with the All Stars thing. I don't everything else like the Mario Kart thing, whatever. Like the game and watching doesn't bother me like it bothers you. Nothing else. Even 3D World having this extra campaign, whatever.
I was just like, I was kind of hoping like they would include the 3D land levels with the updated graphics
Well,
here,
that'd be nice,
like that. I'm like, man,
but
it feels like
that didn't even occur to me though.
yeah. I just yeah. We'll see. I know that once I get most of these things, I'm gonna be like, this is great. This is awesome. It's just Nintendo being Nintendo. All right. We're gonna talk about GPUs next, Mike. So is there anything else
Oh,
about
Jesus.
Nintendo you want to talk about before I just do that real
I
quick?
get okay, just real quick, because we've been talking about this a lot. Like, don't you think that they could have with this and some of the other things the last couple months? Couldn't they have just made a really good Nintendo Direct and probably have looked a lot better and have
Yeah.
gotten this stuff announced before the rumors like kind of came out and sort of got ahead of all of it?
Yeah. I mean, I think it seems like they had the capacity to do this for a few months now, for at least the last month and a half to 2 months. So it's like, yeah, you could have just bundled the last two partner directs and this together into one thing. And
I mean, imagine if back when they had the freaking Paper Mario Direct, like they could have announced this with Pikmin and all that stuff, and then suddenly that's a very good Nintendo Direct, isn't it?
yes, it is. I mean, I'm sure that this was all their E3 stuff just now spread out and exploded all over all these other things. And it's like, this kind of works both ways, right? It's like, well, we're all disappointed in all these events, but it's like, really, if you were to think about them all put together, it's great. So we did get all of this stuff eventually. It's just spread out. Who cares how they announce it? And it's like,
Yeah.
I still care a little bit, but when I think about it retroactively, it's like, okay, this stuff's pretty good. Still though, nothing for November, nothing for December. Do you feel like I still think that there's another direct of some not a direct, like another a potential partner
Another,
mini, and then maybe a
I
mini
mean, what
direct, and that thing maybe they'll have a game of their own. I don't know. I have no idea.
it's
But
it's hard to imagine what the game could even be anymore,
right,
like except for Pokemon Snap, which doesn't quite do enough for me. So because I mean, yeah, because when we talked about this last time, right? Like Bayonetta 3 not happening soon. Metroid definitely not happening unless it's that 2D Metroid that we've been hearing some things about.
right.
Like Metroid Prime 4, definitely not. So yeah, it's like I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could be more Wii U stuff, right? It could be the hey, look, here's Skyward Sword and here's
Yeah, and
Wind
like yeah,
Waker
and
and
like that Twilight Princess rumor or whatever that was
right.
happening, or maybe it was Skyward Sword. Either way, it
Well,
was like
yeah, Skyward Sword there was like the new one, but like they still have like those Wii U versions of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Can't be like how hard would it be to put those together in a bundle and
right,
make
but
money, right?
I think even those like Nintendo knows it can't look like it only has re-releases. So I think those are going to be
Right, and
like
they are getting to that point, right? Because yeah, after Paper Mario, it's been a lot of that. I mean, it looks like a lot of that until after February, really.
yeah, and so yeah, I don't think if those Zelda, I'm sure Zelda stuff's going to happen next year because of that's another 35th anniversary. And I think just wait until then to do most of this stuff because if their November or December games were like okay now the Zelda re-releases that we just did on the Wii U, that would be rough and disappointing, and I think people would start to get a little crabby with Nintendo, more crabby with Nintendo than they already are.
All right, that's enough for Nintendo. Let's move on.
Let's move on. So, Mike, do you want to buy a new GPU?
I mean, okay, look, I don't know much about these things. I know everyone is very excited about
It's
this
exciting.
these new cards. They look nice. They are reasonably priced. It seems like a lot of people are interested in upgrading. And the most interesting thing is the timing of this, because we're supposed to be excited about new consoles right now, and this is. It's not gonna have it's not like the console's gonna
No.
fail because of these, or it's gonna,
No.
but it is certainly, it's interesting, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think Nvidia just did a lot of stuff right. It's also benefiting from timing in other ways where it did spend a lot of its last generation of cards working on other technology than just like price to performance, traditional rasterization rendering. And so now that it's been a few years, they have like a lot of like built up potential to really blow us away with that traditional performance. And they are absolutely doing that. They're also moving to a new, smaller 8 nanometer process. I think they were on 16 nanometer before, maybe something else. But
Let's say, is 8 nanometer a lot? I don't know.
So yeah, they want to be, every time they go to a smaller process, they can do a lot of the same stuff with creating less heat, which means that they can push these things even faster and faster. And now we're getting a lot of performance benefits for that. That's one of the reasons, like, if you heard about AMD and the Ryzen chips and why people are excited for the CPUs in the next gen systems, a lot of that comes down to them using a smaller process than even Intel, and so it's able to run faster and faster, do more and more with putting out less heat. And really, what that means is we put out the same amount of heat, and now we're just getting a ton of extra performance. And so this is really great for things like CPUs and GPUs. And now we're going to get a big benefit now that NVIDIA is moving to a smaller process. I think people were just like really ready to see this kind of jump, and it's a huge jump. So the big we don't know the exact details yet. NVIDIA is often good at cherry picking its numbers, but the claim right now, and based on like some testing from Digital Foundry, it seems like it's going to be capable of like twice as much performance and about 1.9 times as much energy efficiency. So it's like you're going to be getting, it's not that much more power to get a ton more performance. And at $700 for an RTX 3080, it's expensive.
I don't see a
they will have cheaper cards eventually. I mean, they already have the $500 3070, but these things are just going to be monsters if what they are saying is true. It's very and it's not just. Oh, did you lose me? Do you have any idea where I was?
You're talking something about how you can't trust NVIDIA on numbers.
Man,
but
really? Okay. Okay,
yeah, so you were going for a while. I was trying to be like,
Well, we'll see. Maybe this thing picked up some of it. I'm not going to repeat most of that. So we're back, everybody.
That's fine.
We had technical issues.
You had technical issues. I'm perfect.
RTX voice crashed on me. So you can't. Yeah. So I said you can't trust NVIDIA on their numbers, and then NVIDIA RTX voice crashed on me. I don't think that's coincidence.
Yeah, you can't trust them. Look, why don't you talk about the most important thing? 8K, baby. That's twice as many as 4K.
Did you see the video?
No, I didn't see. I didn't see the video, but I just saw you tweeting about it. And trust me, I'm already on board with you in terms of it not mattering. I don't need video proof.
So the RTX 3090 is a $1,500 graphics card, and it's absurd. But it's like a Titan made specifically for gaming and $1,000 cheaper. So from that perspective, it's like a good deal. But it's still a $1,500 graphics card, and it's going to be bananas. The reason it exists in the first place is like, this is the best we can do at the highest price point that we're willing to do as like a gaming graphics card. So whatever AMD does, it's almost certainly not going to be as good as an RTX 3090. They might beat some of the other cards, but they're not going to beat an RTX 3090. But the way that they showed off this card is with a sizzler reel, or a quick video.
Not a sizzler reel. That's a restaurant chain.
Yeah, it's with a bunch of videos. Steak. Steak and butter melting on it. Yeah. Now I'm hungry. With the sizzle reel, and it's basically
I got that 10-pound brisket going. If you want to get a head over here.
Yeah, you didn't have to tell me that when we started. I'm like, now that's all I'm thinking about.
My burnt end should be ready a couple hours, I hope.
It's a montage of some streamers, and it was like Tim Geddes and Andy Cortez from Kind of Funny and Adam Sessler, and they're just sitting in front of a TV, and they don't show the TV, and they don't really show. They show it a little bit, but mostly they're showing the reactions of the streamers, and they're all like losing their minds, and it's. I reached out to Andy. I'm like, what was this like? And he's like, yeah, we're sitting like a few feet away from an 80-inch 8K LG TV, and it was wild. He's like, even they did show us it running natively in 8K, and it was like 15, 20 frames per second. But then they did DLSS, which is like 1440p upscaled to 8K, and it's a really good upscaling, so you can't tell the difference between 8K and the upscaled version. And then it ran really well, and it looked great. And I'm just like, I'm thinking about that setup. I'm like, even in that setup, you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference between 4K and 8K. But even if you can, that's an insane setup. A few feet away from an 80-inch TV, like of course that's going to be blowing anyone away. Just the sheer size. It's taking up more of your vision than you could possibly process.
It's like that first time we went to the science museum and we went to an educational IMAX movie, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's the whole idea is it's supposed to overwhelm you. But yeah, 8K gaming is absurd. We should stop saying those words. 8K gaming should just go away.
That sounds like why I should talk about it more. I mean, I don't care, but I like upsetting you.
And I'm upset, Mike. So good job.
Yeah,
mostly I think I get why they do this. There's games have sort of plateaued in some ways graphically. Like Doom in 2016 came out, and do games really need to look much better than that? And since then, they haven't really looked much better.
Right. I mean, does Doom Eternal look that much better than Doom 2016?
And
despite 4 years later, I don't know.
And would you need it to? Yeah, I don't need it to either. That's the thing. It's like so like where do we put that extra power? Well, we can increase the resolution. We're at 4K already though, and it's like, well, I guess we can increase the frame rate. And it's like, well, now it's running at 4K 120 frames per second. I guess we have 360 hertz monitors now. It's like, so they're doing that too. But at a certain point, we're going to get to a point where it's just like there's nowhere else to put this extra graphical power, and there will be leaps forward. Like ray tracing is a big part of this, and that's why it made sense to do that now. But my hope is that once they sort of get this out of their system, we will stop talking about resolution in the same way that we stop talking about megapixels on like digital cameras. Like your phone camera still has like so many megapixels. No one knows what it is anymore because no one cares.
Sure.
Everyone knows it's just about the image quality and all this other stuff. And it's going to be very similar, I think, with resolution here pretty soon.
Does it still have a 16-bit processor, or is it a 32-bit processor?
Exactly. Yes. And
how's the blast processing?
Yeah, and all these things eventually fade away as the marketing is less and less effective. And I think we are right on the cusp of resolution marketing being less and less effective.
It's just not a thing anymore. We understand. We understand it's big. We
Yes.
understand it's big enough.
It's a lot of pixels, and you cannot even. You have to like. I went and did the math. There's a lot of calculators. You'd have to be sitting about a foot and a half away from an 8K television to be able to tell.
I remember when the consoles would talk to you about how many colors you could show at a time, right?
Yes.
Like, imagine if somebody said, "This is how many colors are possible."
Uh-huh. Yep, totally.
Means nothing.
All right. Let's see. Sony. Let's go to the next story. Sony is looking to bring more first-party games to PC. I guess I have the quote here. I could just read it.
Why not?
We will explore expanding our first-party titles to the PC platform in order to promote further growth in our profitability. There's more money to be made, so they're going to do it. I think this is ever since they started this initiative. It's what we've been saying. These games are expensive to make. If they want to increase their profits, and PlayStation is one of the most profitable groups inside of Sony, this just makes perfect sense. So
right, and Horizon was obviously a big litmus test, and I think it's doing well. So, like, why not? Or why wouldn't we see Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, or even Spider-Man on there some point, right?
Yep, I agree. I think the next one's probably Bloodborne, right? That just feels right. It's been a long time.
Bloodborne feels right. Right, but it's weird. There are still some that seem weird. Like I still have a hard time seeing Uncharted on PC for whatever reason. I don't know why. Like I'd welcome it, but it's like still like, are they going to do that? I don't know.
Right.
Last of Us, I don't know. But it's again, like why the hell not anymore?
Yep. Yeah.
I wonder how far is that to be for Nintendo to jump on this train? Do you think? Like, because a while ago we wouldn't have thought Sony would. And of course, right now it's like, of course Nintendo's not going to. Like 10 years from now, I don't know. Maybe the newest Mario Kart will be on PC.
Yeah, I mean, I
It's
mean,
still it's weird, right? You imagine
yeah,
it, and
I'm
you almost don't like it.
yeah, no, yeah, for sure. It is weird. And I mean, and 10 years is so far out, like it's impossible to like know what's going to change. But yeah, it
And
seems
we're all still here.
yeah, exactly. That's the hardest thing to imagine.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. But I totally expect this just to be the way of things going forward. Do you think that the gap for Sony begins to shrink, or are they just going to stick with this? Like it's been at least 3 years. That's when we'll start moving the games to
I
PC.
don't think that's going to shrink anytime soon. Anyways,
Yeah,
it's not going to be like Microsoft day and date, right?
no,
Absolutely not.
yeah,
Because
definitely,
Microsoft has
definitely not.
Microsoft actually has invested interest in PC in a way that Sony does not.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, I didn't write any other news stories down. Is there anything else that I'm missing from this past week? It was a busy week, but I just kind of
Yeah, it was busy again, but nothing that I can think I want to talk about. I'd like to I like questions, although you just thought of something, huh?
yeah, just real quick. I'm Gods and Monsters has a new name.
Yeah,
You say it because I
yeah.
can't remember.
Immortals Phoenix Wright.
Yeah, Phoenix. Yes, yes.
Immortals Advent Rising.
Immortals Phoenix Down. Yep.
Oh
Immortals
yeah,
Rome Rising.
Immortals Phoenix Marcus.
Yeah.
Marcus Phoenix. Yeah.
Marcus Phoenix,
It's
and that's how it's spelled
bad.
almost. Yeah, it's a bad
It's
name.
actually Immortal Phoenix Rising,
And the
which
Phoenix is
it's
spelled. How's the Phoenix spelled? FENYX.
Fenix. Yeah, Y. There's a Y in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's like the name that they give to like a Chinese mobile game when they bring it to the West.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and it's
Like, why isn't it not at least just Immortal? If they had to have that stupid Immortal as the title, why isn't it like Immortal colon Gods and Monsters at least? I don't,
I
man.
agree. There must have been some legal thing there. I
Yeah,
guess.
but even still, like that's what you came up with. But I don't know. I almost forgot that Horizon Zero Dawn was a bad name because I'm just used to it now. That's basically the same thing, like a nonsense generic first word and then like a subtitle that means nothing. So, it's bad. It's stupid. Does it really matter? I don't know. It makes me think less of the people involved though. So if they're listening, shame on you.
Well put, Mike. Well put. I'm glad you're not going to let anyone off the hook there.
No,
You're right. Go ahead and just keep complaining for like 30 more seconds while I get some questions up here.
that's good. Well, I do want to say for the questions last week, I know somebody asked me about Final Fantasy 16, who I thought would direct it, and I said probably the guy who kind of saved Final Fantasy 14, and I still don't remember his name. I'm sorry, but he's actually been asked that a lot, and like because a lot of people had that same thought, like, oh, he'd be offered like the next Final Fantasy, and apparently he's like almost frustrated at the question. It's like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm working on Final Fantasy 14. It's bothersome that people ask me that, so maybe it won't be him. So who knows?
He added, "Fuck you, Mike Minotti." So.
Yeah, fuck you, Mike Minotti, because the millions of listeners of Games Pizza Size are now bugging me. So
All right, let's.
I have no idea.
Let's start with this one from Hot Girl Video 69 herself.
I
McDonald's.
know her.
McDonald's cone or McDonald's hot fudge sundae.
I am not a dessert person.
Wow, I'm not really either usually, but if between those two, it's the hot fudge sundae. I like hot fudge, so
I'll say this: I occasionally like ice
fudge.
cream. I have never liked sundaes.
Yeah,
Never.
fair enough.
Never
All
been
right.
a sundaes fan.
Huh.
We also have pretty good like ice cream in Northeast Ohio. There's a chain called Handles. That's fantastic. So if I'm gonna get ice cream, I'm gonna go there. And if I'm feeling like I need soft serve, I'm probably just gonna go to Dairy Queen. I don't get ice cream from McDonald's. I don't mean that in a snobbish way. I go to McDonald's sometimes, trust me. not for ice cream.
It's just not garbage enough for you, right?
Yeah.
The ice cream's too good. All right, this one's from Viper Magic. Do you think PlayStation has any more surprise PS4 releases?
Viper Magic could have been the subtitle for Immortal, and it would have sounded just
would have been better. And
it's spelled
it's spelled VYPERMAJIK.
There's a Y for no reason.
So
I like it.
This is good. Yeah. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, I think they showed enough like games like that are coming for PlayStation 5. I don't know who would be working on a PlayStation 4 game, and I think there's no reason for them to. I think they saw last time that people dropped PlayStation 3 faster than they even thought once PlayStation 4 was out.
Absolutely.
So I think they're ready to just know on this day and date it's done. I think as far as they're concerned, it's done, right? Basically, like as soon as Ghost of Tsushima came out for them, it's full steam ahead. PlayStation 5.
Yep, absolutely. I think that's absolutely. I mean, the kinds of people, the reasons you would keep the system going is, oh well, the system's going to go down in price, and then a bunch of casual people will come in, and that just doesn't happen anymore. Those people buy mobile phones and tablets, and that's where they play games.
Yeah, Switches now even.
They buy
Right?
exactly, yes. And so yes, they want to move their most valuable customers forward as fast as possible, and you don't do that by continuing to release old games unless you're doing a subscription service and you're Microsoft. That's a different business model. All right, this one's from Yarden Angel. Delay next gen. Delay next gen. That's how they put the question.
That also could have been the subtitle to Immortal. And it
would have been way better.
Hot Girl 69, I guess, could have been too. It might have been a harder sell, but
I posted this on Twitter. People just need to not buy stuff if they don't want something. I think that products can come out whenever companies feel comfortable putting them out, and I don't know. Mm-hmm. Like, I think people are like, oh, well, we need to have games for these things so we can be excited. And it's like, these things are probably still going to sell. There are other reasons to be excited. I'm excited about an NVIDIA graphics card so I can just go see all the games I already own running better. And I think that a lot of people are going to treat the consoles pretty similarly to that. And if there isn't enough for you to be excited to the point where you want to buy one right now, the answer is not to delay it. It is just for you to hold on to your money and wait for a deal. Wait, go buy one used when someone realizes that they're disappointed that they spent this money. Just do that.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand, you feel like you're not as excited as you should be, but yeah, and I get it too. I can be a bit of a consumer whore. I can be a bit like, I need the new systems. I'm really excited about it. But even me, right? Even I'm thinking, if I don't get an Xbox Series X, a review unit, is that something I really need to rush out and get right away when it's going to have basically nothing on it exclusive that I need to play immediately with all those games coming to PC? Mm-hmm. And I know my PC, at least PlayStation 5, it's like, well, I want to play Miles Morales. So that's, something for that. Right. So, I mean, but I guess the other side, aside of consumer concern, is their concern, and, PlayStation and Microsoft, and they know they'll sell what they have. I'm sure they're not going to have a bunch of these things out. It's going to be, like it has been for a while. They want them to sell out, so it's not going to be a giant stock, so that the news people can be like, "Oh, the PlayStation 5 sold out in 24 hours," right? So they'll be fine.
From /games1120,
that would not be a subtitle.
Do you think General Directs are out of the realm of possibility for 2020 as a whole? Also, do you think partner showcases will continue into 2021, or are they just a temporary way to show off games? I think the General Directs thing as a realm of possibility for 2020 as a whole, I think to me it seems off the table at this point. I think
really.
Yeah, I think if they're going to going forward through the next couple of months, if they were going to have a General Direct, it would have had this Mario stuff. It would have had Pikmin 3. It would have had some of these other things. It would have incorporated the things that have been in these partner showcases. They said at the end of the first partner showcase they're going to do more. They did another one, and at the end of that one they said there's going to be more. That's probably what this next thing that I'm hearing about. It's probably that.
Okay. So it's just more of what we've been getting.
Right, and I think that. If the partner showcase, or if a big General Direct that we traditionally think of as a direct returns, it'll be sometime in the first half of next year.
January, February deal.
Yeah, maybe March, maybe as late as March. But yeah. But I also are we going to get partner showcases for forever in the future? I don't think so. I think that they are a stopgap, but I don't know for sure. Maybe they do fine for them. It seems like they are diluting the brand of the Direct a little bit to the point where maybe Nintendo might back off.
It's hard to see who's that helping. It seems like you could just throw that stuff. You could say the stuff for a General Direct, and it would be better served. It does seem like this is, they're happening because there wasn't an E3, and they need to find a place for these things, and they don't want to do a big Direct, so they got to put it somewhere. You can't just awkwardly, talk about that stuff at the end of talking about Mario 3D All Stars, I guess. So
yeah.
But I mean, Nintendo's a wild card. Who knows what they're gonna do? I certainly did not think last week that they were gonna finally announce Mario 3D All Stars and it was gonna come out in a couple weeks. So.
Yep. Do you think? Do you know anything about when is PlayStation going to give us more info about price, release date, and launch games? No. I think
no.
They're going to do it when they're going to do it. They are both holding back. We've talked about this repeatedly now. They're both playing chicken. It really is that simple. Microsoft has to announce the Series S eventually, and it feels like you can't really go that much longer without talking about that thing. So I feel like there's more pressure on Microsoft now to go first, but who knows?
It's insane that I actually can, like, at this point be like, maybe we'll go to October without knowing at
Yep,
this
it
point.
feels very possible.
I
Yeah.
mean, we're into September now. We have a long weekend. By the time they're not going to announce it over holiday weekend. By the time we come back, it's going to be what, September 7th?
Yeah, let
Like,
me hang on. I'm going to go to Wolfram Alpha real quick. Wolframalpha.com, and I'm going to put in how many days until Thanksgiving.
It'll be September 8th when people are working again.
So
It'll be September 8th.
So 83 days until Thanksgiving. So that's like what? That's like, between 60 to 83 days until like that November range. There was 50 days, I think, between the Switch price announcement and like all the Switch reveal and when it was released. So we're 10 to 23 or 10 to 33 days away from reaching a threshold where these systems will have a shorter run up to release, like from their price announcements to the release date than the Switch. But the Switch was at 50 days. So I guess like let's just treat that like first day of November as like the countdown. That's just 10 days away. We're getting down to the wire where these things just have to happen pretty soon. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Right. What does have to mean anymore?
Yeah.
People love messing around with have tos these days.
They really do.
Things that I used to think have to happen don't seem to happen no more.
Okay. RTX 3090, PS5, Series X, or Mario 3D All Stars. Which one will cost more in a year?
I mean, 3D All Stars isn't gonna cost $500.
That's a good question, though. I like that. I do think that scarcity is going to make those physical versions probably worth quite a bit, but I think we'll have to see. I guess
there is a part of me that, like, at some point I'm going to get a code for this to review it. And probably like, do I need to like go out and get a physical copy of this anyway? Like, just in case. Like,
yep.
Yeah.
What if you can't download it again? Like, it feels like it might be one of those situations.
It's Nintendo. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe that's true.
Although they did relist Pikmin 3 for Wii U today after delisting.
I don't know. Oh, that's nice.
So that's back. If you want to get it on them, if you want to get that for $20 on Wii U instead, which you don't because you didn't yet. So, all right. Well, I think we could probably just maybe do one or two more questions. Oh yeah, there's only one or two more. Okay. Likely game studio acquisitions for Xbox Game Studios and Sony. I know Sony talked about this in the last couple of weeks. They're saying they're looking to acquire more studios. WB Games off the shelf apparently, no longer on the auction block according to WB's new management. And that would never seem likely in the first place. But I don't know. Like, who do you think, Mike? Is there anyone out there you think any of these companies should pick up?
I mean, gosh, who's like left and who's super dependent anymore? I mean, Sony. It's weird with Sony because they already seem relatively stacked, and
right.
I don't know. I'm struggling to think of who they would get. Do you have something like that? I mean, maybe Vicarious Visions they're still technically a third party, right? They seem like a good get right now.
I wonder if are they? I felt like Activision might own them. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I think like if like the really big ones like even Capcom like might have seemed like a possibility until Monster Hunter, and now that seems like that would make them way too expensive.
Yeah.
I feel like
Capcom's hard. I mean, Capcom's kind of weird to see.
I mean, they it would have been a really good deal like a couple years ago, because if they would have delivered these games, and Monster Hunter would have been huge regardless, even if it was just on one platform.
I mean, the thing is, a lot of people kind of keep thinking like, oh, like Sony's going to buy Konami at some point and just own those games. And, I would like for it to happen, but I don't think Konami is selling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I think IO Interactive always seems like a good one to pick up. I mean,
yeah, sure.
It doesn't seem like
that'd be good for
Microsoft
to. Almost.
I think it'd be a really great fit for Game Pass. Absolutely, that would be a perfect game for that. I don't know.
What about Remedy?
Yeah, Remedy. I think Remedy just did a deal with Epic, so I think that's off the table as well. I think I don't think it's. I mean, I guess someone could always come in and buy out that deal, but doesn't seem likely. I don't know. I think what we're coming down to is there's not a lot of big names out there to actually go out and buy anymore.
Right, and it's like you need like something like that tier slightly below big name, but like but not to like then you don't want to like suddenly become like NC Soft or something. So it's like, it's a hard window there, and like I don't know, Microsoft could just go get more of these RPG developers, I guess, that are out there, but it seems like they're spoken for there pretty well now. So I'm not sure.
Last question from Christian Rodriguez. Christian Rarg. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong.
I'm
But
sure you are.
he's a homie. He played in our PUBG games, back in the day. Um, can I run Minecraft with a 3090? I think there's ways to add shaders to that game and to add like ray tracing and all this other stuff, so that even with a 3090, that game can chug. There's some you could mess up Minecraft. You could do some dirty stuff
Yeah.
to that game.
Yeah, they're always updating it.
Yeah, and it's gonna and just there's a lot of mods out there. Pretty messed up stuff. So yeah, we'll find a way to crash that game even on a 3090. All right, Mike. That does it for questions. So let's talk about some video games. How about that? We haven't done that
Let's
this
do
whole
it.
show. So
Yeah, we done it last week either because so let's get to some of these.
yeah. So I mean, you just want to talk
There's some
about the
big
big one?
ones.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Tony Hawk.
Yeah. Let's do it. So Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, I think, is out today. I've been playing it for
Mhm.
review. I know you just got a code. You've been playing it today.
Yeah,
I really love what they did here. It is,
I think it is glorious.
yeah, it feels like when you look at these remakes that Activision's been doing, and just remakes in general, it's like, okay, this is like the new template for how good they can be and how good they should be. It's also only $40. It's like, it feels like such a good deal.
Is it? That's
It-
insane. Because I'd easily pay
I'm
60.
saying, I keep thinking, I'm like, all day, I'm like, man, I would pay $60 for this easily. And it's out everywhere. It's on PC, it's on Xbox, it's on PlayStation. Seems like a Switch version is likely based on some data mining. And yeah, just playing it, I instantly was like, okay, man, Tony Hawk. It really feels like games probably never did get much better than what Tony Hawk did. It was
It's insane.
it's
Like when I picked.
yeah. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you.
When I was like back in like the school level, like school one, like I haven't played in there forever, and I was just like so instantly teleported back, right? And I know nostalgia is not the end all be all, but that was a kind of nostalgia I haven't felt in a while, and it is insane just how quickly I picked up all these skill sets again. Like relatively easily doing 300,000 plus combos, like that great feeling of like doing your first combo chain and already getting the sick combo, accomplishment or whatever for that round. Like, man, the game just feels so good still. And it's funny because like, at some point the series went away from like the 2 minute like rounds and we were all
Yes.
like, oh, it's good. And I'm like, man, that was a mistake. The
Yes.
2 minute rounds rule. I love that design. I love that, like sometimes you're spinning around like kind of strategically more exploring. You like, this is the round where I'm going for the score thing. This is the round where I'm gonna maybe get all 5 of the skate letters or final 5 of the picnic tables or whatever. Gosh, it's fun, and the progression is great. Even like the stuff they added, like I like the stupid challenges, which are
Mm-hmm.
like mini trophies, and I'm like, oh, push triangle to redeem. Like, oh, that makes me happy. Ha ha ha. Numbers going up.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just it's insane how good Tony Hawk gameplay feels still, and especially it's insane that Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 came out this generation because like that was a game that did nothing but fill us with despair, and this is just
Yeah, man.
so
Wow.
wonderful, so wonderful.
Yeah, I guess this generation has been long enough that game just feels like ancient now. But yeah, that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 was a truly tragic thing.
Was that? I think that was this generation, right?
No, I think you're right because we've been doing this job since like around 2013, and that's when this generation started. So, man, yeah, that's a long time now. Yeah, this game, it just does such an excellent job of feeling right. It feels like those games, but
Oh yeah.
it's not exactly Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1, not exactly Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. It takes what you think Tony Hawk should be, which is probably like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 controls and feel.
4 or 3.
Yeah,
Like 3 was the sweet spot for me. I forget if 3 had like everything. Like
yeah, 3 didn't have
like
the wall plant.
wall
and that's
plan.
4
Wall
had that.
plant's big.
Yeah.
And having the wall plant here is great.
Yes.
Because you can extend some grinds, some rail like lines, just so good.
Yeah,
Man. It just feels so good.
And you're right about that. That 2 minute timer, it really frees you up to be like, I'm just gonna do another round. It's only 2 minutes, and I can beat this
Right.
score. I'm just gonna get right back in there. It's just and you really get into a flow where it's like, okay, let's go again, and it becomes really easy to shut your mind off,
Yeah.
get into the way the game feels, and just explore this really awesome 3D world with this character that moves through it in such a fluid, dynamic way. And they did not mess up a single thing about it. And I'm
It's almost like
enamored.
a 3D platforming game, and it's like Mario 64, and just like how good it feels. And there's that discovery, like you're in a world, and it's like strange, and it's like you're discovering it, you're learning it, and then by the end, you're like you become this master of this level. You know where like that all the half pipes are, where all the rails are, where all the lines are that you like,
Mhm.
and it becomes like a different experience at that point. Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah,
I'm like halfway through the Tony Hawk 1 Pro campaign right now, and I'm just like, it was hard to put down.
Christian in chat says it was 2015 for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. So yeah, 5 years.
Man, so well into the yeah.
And it's like this franchise, it never really should have gone away. It's just Activision blew it. At first it did it annual releases, and then it was like it was just sort of trying to keep the license. It felt like, so it was like, okay, I guess we'll just make this shitty HD remake, and then we'll make Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. And everyone in charge didn't really know what made these games special. I remember the loading times being really bad. And this one's like even loading off these hard drives and loading these really high quality assets. Rarely are you waiting more than like a second or two to get back into a round. And it's like, okay, that stuff feels good. Go ahead.
Now I really hope that, kind of like how we're getting Crash Bandicoot 4. I really hope that like we can take this and make a really good like new Tony Hawk game that's very much in this style. I still want like the 2-minute rounds and everything. But I want like new levels. I want some other new things. But yeah, very much in that spirit. I don't even know what you call it anymore, because now you almost can't even call it Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 6, because then it makes you remember that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 existed.
Yep.
So there'll be some other names.
Yeah. I mean, they could do the same joke though. It's like, weren't there a bunch more of these games? It's like, nope,
that's
only
exactly
4.
What Crash Bandicoot did, right?
Only 4. Yeah. And I really like how they updated the skaters to be old. There are younger skaters in there. There's like a new generation of skaters, but it's really cool to
create a skater.
Yeah, and you could create a skater, of course. But it's like, it's really cool just to see old Tony Hawk's 52-year-old character model and be like, yeah, he's still skating right now. Like today, he still goes and skates every day, still making skate videos. And there's nothing inherent about skating that makes it only for young people. And it's cool. It just gives it a different. It feels different than those old games, because it's like, okay, no, skating has continued to grow up, and that finally like there's a game capturing that again. It's neat. It's really well done. The music is also perfect, and the sound effects.
It's great. The tutorial is like pretty nicely done. Like it just has like, I just kind of did as a refresher, and that was great. If you were new to the game, it would help out a lot. It's very snappy and very informative, and it's fun because Tony Hawk's narrating it. Oh gosh, I just want to play so much more of it.
Yep.
Man, is it good?
Yeah, and it's like I when we started talking about like there could be a new Tony Hawk coming out, I went and like tried to find some Tony Hawk to like play on PC or something. And there's nothing. Not really. There's no way to play those like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 or HD. And I thought about
proving ground on it.
Right. I thought about like trying to find a way to do Thug and to mod that. Because there's I guess with Thug Pro is like the community mod scene is really good for that. I didn't take the time to get it running. Having this available all the time, I am just going to keep going back to it.
I wonder if Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, 4, and Thug 1 and 2 are still pretty well loved, right? I wonder if they would remake those still. If that's on the table, I would certainly like to see at least 3. Just because 3 is my personal favorite. Like, I think even if it was like a download pack for this, I would be excited about that.
Yep.
But like, it's funny because like I know I liked 4, but like right now I'm almost not as interested in 4 because like I'm not interested in the open world design thing. Same thing with Thug in a way. I'm like, no, I like these 2-minute rounds. Like this is what I really think of when I think about Tony Hawk. Oh man, gosh, let's move on so I can get back to playing it soon. Let's talk about another game.
Yeah. I real quick, my other games, I didn't spend a ton of time with these. I really want to. PGA Tour 2K21. It seems like a really solid golf game. This is from the people that did the golf club. 2K picked it up, and it has all the PGA elements now, and it feels very professional. And I've been enjoying that. I get the gamepad. I play on PC on the TV, and there's something still very relaxing about a good golf game. And it feels really good to just do a really good shot and like, I actually chipped that in. It's like, I feel the reward of doing a good golf shot.
Yeah. It made me think it is weird that we don't have Mario Golf yet on Switch. So that's something they can announce at any point, I guess. Not to go back to Nintendo, but I did that anyways.
And then Captain Tsubasa. This is
the
anime soccer. Yeah. So man, there should be.
Is it better or worse than Mega Man Soccer?
I mean, nothing could be better than Mega Man Soccer.
Good answer.
There should be so many more anime sports games, man. This is such a fun idea. It doesn't take itself very seriously, except for that it's incredibly dramatic and over dramatic and melodramatic, and that stuff totally works because it's about sports, and this is what you like when you imagine like what is sports really like. Oh, it's people who are like, oh, I just need to be the best, and it's what anime sports is always like, and this game captures
Hmm.
it. And then when you're actually playing the games, like, it's not like trying to exactly recreate soccer. It's like, what if Mario Strikers, Super Strikers, was played with like real people? Like, where's the middle ground
Right.
on
It's very
that?
flamboyant and
Yeah,
fun.
right.
Yeah, it's an arcade soccer game, which are super fun. I used to like Sega Soccer Slam on the GameCube a
Yeah,
lot. That game was my jam.
yeah, and it's like it feels good just to like just pull off these anime dribbling moves to like move past people, and then if they take the ball from you, you just go run into them and you knock them down, and they go flying in the air, and no one pulls out a yellow card. It's you didn't do anything illegal. That's the whole game.
Yeah, I tell you, like, I have no interest in playing a FIFA ever, but like this, I'm like, oh yeah, I'd try this. This sounds fun.
And like you when you just slam the ball as hard as you can, and it doesn't go flying off 100 feet over the net. No, it just hits the goalie that hard, and it's like if you time it a little bit better, it'll lower the goalie's health bar because of course the goalie has a health bar,
Yes.
and then so the next shot has a better chance of going in. It's like,
Oh,
okay,
it's beautiful.
it's such a
Woo!
smart game. The
Ooh,
problem the problem
getting me
is,
worked up now.
yeah, for sure. You got to play this game, I think. The problem is, don't play it on PC. I played it on. I have my TV hooked up to my PC upstairs, and it's set to go at 120 hertz. And so the game's like, well, we're just gonna run at 120 hertz, but that means the game is running twice as fast because for
Oh,
some. And I looked all through the settings. There's no like way to. I think I might have to go on the NVIDIA control panel and mess with it there. But I was just like, no, I'm shutting this thing off. And I went. I could play it on my PC down here because this monitor is at 60 hertz, and then it ran fine. But still, then the UI was all busted. It was like
yeah.
I'd hover over like the start button, and it would show the word start somewhere else, and I'm like, oh, okay, I think it's working. And I'd click it. Once I'm in game, it plays okay on this computer. So it's on Switch, it's on the consoles. I think it's fine on those platforms. I guess I don't know about performance on Switch, but just don't get it on PC yet.
PlayStation seems like a safe bet.
I think so. So that does it for me, though, Mike. I'm ready to hear about other stuff. Avengers. Have you been playing this?
Avengers. I have been playing, not super far yet. Into the campaign, but I like Avengers. I think a lot of people have kind of been saying that, and I feel a little good, a little proud even because I resisted joining that Avengers hate train that I feel like has been rolling ever since it got debuted at E3. I was always kind of like, no, I think this could be fine. I think this looks fun, and I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I think it's
I
interesting.
think
I
I was
mean,
wrong on this one, Mike. I
yeah,
think I
yeah. You
misjudged
were
it.
really down on it.
Yeah.
You were really
I
down
just,
on
it
it.
just, it just seemed like it was a generic sort of action RPG that didn't have a lot going on except for all of its currencies. And now it's just like I was watching a little bit of Greg Miller play yesterday, and he was playing as Captain America. And I don't know, it was like in-game content even. It wasn't like story stuff, and it just looked good.
The
It
co
looked really fun.
I mean, it is a brawler, but, like, the combat is fun. They do a good job of, like, making each hero look unique. Like, the combos and kind of stuff you can do, like, look awesome and are very hero appropriate. Like, Hulk can do stuff like pick up people and start, like, using them as a weapon. Like, his range attack, isn't like a laser or something. Like, he literally picks a piece of earth off the ground and throws it.
Hmm.
It all feels really good. Like it's almost like what a next gen Marvel Ultimate Alliance could actually be like. Like you turn that into like make it into this sort of AAA experience. And like the story is pretty fun. It's what makes it work is that you have Kamala Khan who is Miss Marvel as like the she's the main character really,
Hmm.
and that helps. First off, that's neat. It distinguishes it from the MCU, which I think a lot of people needed because she's not in the MCU. So that right there is like, okay, that's not this. This is something else. This is different, and I can get into this and I can dig it. I mean, it's not like it's still very comic booky. It's very on the nose. It wears its heart on sleeve sometimes. Falls relies on tropes a lot, but it's fun. It's a lot of good fun. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that's right. I like the Avengers. That's right. I like Captain America. It's fun to play a game as them. Especially a character like Black Widow or Captain America. Like, it's been so long since you've had a AAA game where you could play as those people, really, except for like a fighting game or something. Even then, last Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite wasn't really a AAA game. So yeah, I mean, it's coming together, and the RPG stuff, I'm not super deep into, but I play a lot of looty games. I play a lot of MMOs. I like getting gear. there's a lot of currency, but like so far it hasn't overwhelmed me. Maybe it will, but yeah, the progression feels really nice right now. So I'm just right now. I'm just excited to play more of the story. Excited to try out that kind of end game multiplayer with people, and I'm into it. I'm
I,
having fun. I'm excited to play more of it still.
yeah, wasn't Captain America dead? That's a good question. That's
Well,
I,
okay, yeah. To be clear in my story, Captain America's still dead. I
okay. All
have
right.
a feeling he's going to be fine.
Yeah, I think you might be onto something there. I am going to play this game. I am excited to play it now. I was pretty frustrated this week because it definitely seemed like it was out, and then I asked, and like, oh, if you have the deluxe edition, it's out. And I'm like, well, I definitely added the deluxe edition on Steam using my press account, and I went to go play it, and it wasn't working. And it's like, I guess maybe I added the standard version first, and then I added the deluxe
Ah, you
upgrade,
fool.
and that broke it or something, and it never worked. I like even removed it from my account and added it again, and that still didn't work. So I'm like in a place where I'm like, man, fuck this game. I just wanted to play it, and now it's gone. Now I'm like, the moment's passed.
No,
Screw you. But people are
well,
talking too highly about it for me to actually skip it.
maybe you should change your mind and try to play it on PlayStation so we can play together potentially. Not that you
No,
ever play games with me.
oh my god. All right. I just
Still haven't gotten a Fall Guys invite. Another week.
oh my god. All right. Well, I'm supposed to guest star on another podcast tonight, but then maybe after that we'll
Well,
see.
I don't want not tonight. I got way better things to do than play games with you. Are you kidding me?
Wow. Okay.
I
Yeah.
got Tony Hawk and Avengers now, or maybe something else. I don't. Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
You
Hey,
you,
hey,
you
whoa,
had your chance.
actually, no. We should totally play some multiplayer Tony Hawk though. I would love that. I was fun.
Oh yeah.
It's
I'm.
good. It's good. They nailed it. It was. It seems like
Oh
drop in,
man.
drop out. I think all the
I got my
leaderboard stuff is
brothers.
good. I'm ready to go. There's in addition to like having the two. We don't have to talk about Tony Hawk again, but in addition to having like
I
the two games, there's a ranked and free mode, and you just
I
go in
saw
there, and it's like you just play for the high score. And I'm like, I'm gonna be doing that a lot.
Oh my gosh, I got so many games I want to play. I'm gonna blaze through these last two things. I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14, which I talked about. It's super good. The story has been super fun to play through. What I like about it compared to World of Warcraft is like old expansions feel way more relevant because it's like so story centric. You just you're going through a story and you're still seeing other players around there doing the same thing. You still have people queuing up for those dungeons because max level characters or people are leveling up like new jobs and they're doing those dungeons. It all works really well. It's been super fun. I'm also playing Dragon Quest V, which I actually got like new for 3DS. I got a
Oh
sealed
wow.
copy of
Okay.
that online. So that's been giving my old school JRPG kick and also helping me explore that series more. It's been really fun. I'll talk about that extensively once I beat it. I'm like 25 hours into it right now, so been making good progress. The fun thing about this one is this is the one where you can you recruit monsters and they kind of fill out your party. So it has like a bit of a Pokemon vibe to it. Not as aggressive as that. So it's neat. It's definitely a very as far as like a really old school JRPG goes, it's a lot of fun and I'm enjoying it.
Good.
But yeah, I'm really like this week, Avengers, Tony Hawk, maybe another thing I'm gonna be playing. I have a lot of games to play. I'm really this is the most excited I've been to play games for a week in a while. Like so much stuff has dropped all of a sudden. I'm having fun. I even played I played Flight Simulator with a Flight Stick for the first time, and that was good. I forgot if I talked about that already. Maybe I talked about that last week. I don't know.
I don't think you did. No, I think you got it, and I don't think we talked because we didn't talk about games last week, so you didn't mention that.
That's right. Yeah. So, but that's also very fun. A lot of things to do. And I want to get back to it.
Yeah, so I think we can wrap up. I'll just say you are playing that on 3DS, you said, right? You're playing that Dragon.
Yeah, 3DS. It was weird to start to play a game on the 3DS again because I dug it out and I charged it, and I'm like, man, I forgot that this is not this display is a low resolution compared to what I'm used to now. This is weird, but you get used to it.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask because I was thinking I've never played through all of the other Square RPG for Super Nintendo everyone loves.
Bravely Default?
No, for Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo, Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger, yes. I've never played through all Chrono Trigger. I started
Oh
a few
yeah,
times,
the DS version is good.
and I was thinking about doing the DS version. So I was thinking about maybe just get my 3DS out and doing that. So yeah, we'll see. I think that would be a good idea.
Chrono Trigger's great because it's relatively short for a JRPG.
Right,
You can beat that
exactly.
in like
And
20
I
hours.
know, I think I know I like that game all the times I
Everyone
played
likes
it.
Chrono Trigger.
Yeah,
It's Chrono Trigger.
yeah, exactly. So I'm like, even though I didn't love all the Final Fantasy games, and Final Fantasy VI even fell apart for me, I'm like, Chrono Trigger seems like it holds.
Well, you're a bad person if that's true, but I already knew that
Yeah,
anyway.
no, I know. I'm fine if that's what it takes to know the truth, and
Yeah.
I'm a bad person.
No surprises there.
And Christian says we should try Spellbreak. I've heard good things about that too. I'm gonna try that this
I-
weekend.
I've got so many.
A lot of
games.
games. A lot of games. But and speaking of which, let's get back to playing those. So let's wrap up this episode, Mike. Why don't you tell people where they can find you on this here internet?
You can find me on Twitter at Tolkoto, TOLKOTO. Also, check out my 90s Disney podcast, 90s Disney, at 90sdisney.com. Our new episode is out about Rocket Rods, which is one of the most infamous Disneyland attractions of all time. So be sure to check that out. We also have a contest running. Can I plug a contest?
Go for it. Do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So 90 at our Twitter account at 90s Disney Pod, we are giving away 2 signed Hunchback of Notre Dame posters signed by the screenwriter of the film, Tab Murphy. To have a chance to win those, just go follow that Twitter account. That's 90s Disney Pod, and retweet the contest post, which will be pinned to the top. You have until September 15th to do that.
And I'm Jeff Grubb on Twitter and on Twitch, and then it's youtube.com/JeffreyGrubb. We're actually streaming this episode there live right now. So if you want to watch us each week, you can go to youtube.com/JeffreyGrubb/live. I think that link should work each and every week. I have another podcast, How Games Make Money. It's where I talk about how games make money, and you can find that on youtube.com/JeffreyGrubb or wherever you find podcasts. Just search for that. You'll find it. Okay. Yeah, that wraps up. What are you going to play first, Mike?
Man, I kind of want to play more Tony Hawk, but I might be playing the thing I can't talk about first.
I would play that if I were you, man.
It's hard.
Right.
It's also
it
good. It's also good. It kind of sucks because like I am loving Avengers, and I kind of need to play more of that. But like compared to some of these other things, I actually kind of want to play the other
you go play
more,
that, and I'll go play Avengers for you. All right, we'll do that.
Yeah,
All right,
do that. Catch up with me. Yeah,
all right, everybody. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with a new